The tavern on the far side of the space station was not a place for quiet men. It was filled with smoke, steam, and the sound of alien voices mixing together. Strange music played from an old machine in the corner, broken but still alive. The air smelled of metal, oil, and food cooked in ways no human kitchen would allow. Beings of every size and shape filled the room: traders, smugglers, soldiers, wanderers. They laughed, shouted, and argued in a dozen languages, and yet, in the middle of that noise, one man sat silent. He was human, a rare sight in this part of space. His shirt was plain, rolled at the sleeves. His hands looked strong, the kind of hands that had worked hard and fought battles. But it was not his face or his clothes that caught the attention of others. It was the ring on his finger, a silver band, smooth and old, with a faint glow that seemed alive. The light was soft, not bright, but it drew eyes like fire in the dark. Whenever the man moved his hand, the ring shimmered, and every time it shimmered, whispers spread across the tavern. At first, the aliens only glanced at it and looked away. But slowly, more eyes turned toward the human, some with curiosity, some with greed, some with fear. Even the music seemed quieter, as if the tavern itself waited, sitting to seats away. An elderly alien woman noticed it most. Her skin was pale blue, lined with wrinkles that told of age and long life. Her ears were pointed, her eyes sharp like knives. She wore a heavy coat trimmed with fur, a sign of someone who had survived many winters on many worlds. She had seen battles. She had seen empires rise and fall. But she had never seen a human wear that kind of ring. She leaned forward, her voice dry but strong. "Human," she said, "where did you get that ring?" Her words cut through the noise of the tavern. Conversation stopped. A few aliens froze in mid-drink, their cups halfway to their mouths. A pair of traders near the door leaned closer to listen. The bartender wiped his hands and waited. The human did not answer at once. He looked at her, calm, his eyes steady. Then he turned back to his drink, as if her question did not matter, but it mattered. The elderly woman's fingers curled on the counter. She repeated her question, louder this time. "Where did you get that ring?" The ring glowed faintly in the dim light, as if it had heard her voice. The human finally spoke. His voice was low, quiet, but it carried weight. "This ring," he said slowly, "was not given. It was earned." The words hit the tavern like a stone thrown into water. The silence that followed was sharp, broken only by the hiss of steam. From the kitchen, the alien woman's eyes widened. She leaned back, studying him with disbelief. Around her, other aliens shifted in their seats. Some looked afraid. Others whispered to each other, their voices thin and nervous. The human lifted his drink, the ring catching the light again. He seemed almost bored, but his calmness only made the mystery stronger. The elderly alien leaned closer, her face only inches from his. She spoke in a voice just above a whisper. "That ring does not belong to you. No human has ever worn it. No human should ever wear it." Her words carried a weight of history, as if the ring was more than metal, more than decoration. It was a story, a warning, a relic of something far older than anyone in the tavern. But the man did not flinch. He turned his head slightly, his eyes meeting hers. And in that moment, the room seemed to grow smaller, as if nothing else mattered but the question and the answer. The human spoke again, his tone steady. "Maybe it was not meant for humans, but still, it chose me." The alien woman's jaw tightened. She almost reached out to touch the ring, but her hand stopped in the air, trembling. She could not bring herself to touch it. Behind her, someone muttered in fear. Another alien rose from his seat and moved away, not wanting to be too close. Even those who had never seen the ring before knew something was wrong, something powerful. The human lowered his hand back to the counter. The ring pulsed faintly, as if alive. The elderly alien stared at it, then back at him. For the first time in many years, her voice broke. "Impossible," she whispered. "If that ring accepted you, then everything we believed is a lie." The tavern remained frozen. Every eye stayed locked on the human and the glowing ring. Every ear waited for the next word. The human only sat back, calm, almost amused. His silence said more than words. He did not explain. He did not need to. The ring glowed again, steady, soft, unyielding dot, and in that moment, the entire tavern understood. Nothing about this man was ordinary. The tavern did not breathe. Not a single chair scraped against the floor. Not a single voice dared to rise above the silence. The human's words, it was earned, still hung in the air like smoke that refused to fade. Every pair of eyes followed the glowing silver ring, as if it might suddenly leap to life and choose another bearer. The elderly alien woman, still leaning close, struggled to find her voice. Her lips trembled, and her sharp teeth showed when she spoke. "You cannot mean what you say. That ring was never meant for your kind." The man did not look shaken. His calm face, his steady eyes, gave no hint of fear. He lifted his cup, sipped, and placed it down with quiet control. His hand lingered on the counter, the ring glowing faintly. It was as though he wanted everyone in that room to see it, to feel the weight of its presence. The silence stretched longer and longer, until it began to feel unbearable. A nervous alien in the corner shifted, knocking his mug to the floor. The crash startled many, but the human did not even blink. He simply let the moment continue, stretching it like a blade pulled tighter and tighter before a strike. At last, the elderly woman spoke again. Her voice was not angry now. It was something deeper, fear, mixed with awe. "Do you even understand what you carry? Do you know how many died to keep that ring from the hands of men like you?" The man tilted his head. For the first time, there was a flicker of a smile on his lips, a smile without warmth. "I understand enough," he said. The woman shook her head, her pale eyes wide. She turned to the others in the room, as if looking for support, as if asking them to share her disbelief. But no one answered. No one dared. Instead, a whisper started at the back of the tavern. One voice, then two, words in a strange alien tongue. Others repeated it, soft and tense. The word rolled through the crowd like a wave, until even those who did not understand the language felt its meaning. It was the name of the ring, a name buried in history. The human listened, his face unreadable. While the whispers grew louder, the air thickened, filled with tension and rising fear. Suddenly, a young alien stood up. His scales glimmered in the dim light, and his eyes were sharp with greed. "If it is truly the ring," he said boldly, "then it does not belong to you. Hand it over." Now, the tavern shifted. Some muttered agreement. Others pulled back, not wanting to be caught in the storm. The young alien took a step closer, his hand hovering near his weapon. His voice rose. "You are nothing but a man. You cannot hold the power of that ring." The human turned to him slowly. His calmness did not break. He raised his hand, letting the ring's glow shine across the tavern. The light reflected in every glass, every plate, every frightened eye. "You think I cannot hold it," he said quietly. "But the ring thinks otherwise." The young alien froze. His bravado faltered. The glow from the ring touched his face, and suddenly his legs wavered beneath him. He stumbled back, his voice choking, as if an invisible hand pressed against his chest. He fell into his chair, gasping. The tavern held its breath again. The human lowered his hand, letting the glow fade to its quiet shimmer. He did not boast. He did not threaten. The silence was his weapon, and it cut deeper than any blade. The elderly woman stared at him with something that was no longer disbelief. It was recognition. She had lived long enough to know when destiny revealed itself, and now she saw it in him. Her voice dropped to a whisper, barely heard above the hum of machines. "The ring. It has chosen you." The man looked at her. His eyes, steady and sharp, seemed to pierce through the years of her wisdom. He did not deny her words. Around them, fear grew into something else: curiosity, awe, a strange respect. No one dared challenge him again, not after what they had seen. Yet questions filled every mind. Who was this man? What had he done to claim something that belonged to legends? And why did the ring glow brighter in his presence, as if alive? The tavern's walls seemed to close in with the weight of unanswered questions. The human leaned back in his chair, calm as if the storm had never touched him. But in that calmness, the mystery deepened, pulling every soul closer. The elderly woman placed her hands flat on the counter. Her fingers trembled, but her voice did not when she spoke again. "If the ring has chosen you, Then you carry a burden greater than you know, and I fear your kind is not ready for what it demands." The man's expression did not change. He only leaned forward, closer to her, his voice low but sharp enough to cut the silence. "Maybe," he said, "it is not the world that is ready. Maybe it is me." The woman's eyes widened. The ring pulsed faintly, as if agreeing. The tavern shuddered with quiet gasps. Every listener felt it, the sense that history was not just being remembered tonight. It was being written. And though no one spoke it aloud, one truth burned in every mind: nothing in the galaxy would remain the same after this night. The glow from the ring lingered in the old tavern like a ghost refusing to leave. Its silver light touched the walls, the glasses, and the faces of those who watched in silence. No one spoke, yet the air itself seemed alive, heavy with fear and curiosity. All eyes stayed locked on the human. He did not move quickly. He did not speak in haste. He sat calm, as if every second belonged to him, as if the room had no choice but to wait. The elderly alien woman could not look away. Her lips trembled as she whispered words in her own language, words that sounded ancient and broken. Her voice cracked, but the meaning was clear to those who had studied old stories. She was reciting the legend of the ring. Her chest rose and fell sharply, as if she struggled to believe her own memory. She had once heard of the relic when she was a child, sitting near the fires of her people, listening to the elders tell tales meant to frighten the young. The ring was not supposed to exist anymore. It was said to have been lost, hidden, destroyed in the chaos of an old war, and if it had survived, no human hand was ever meant to touch it. But here, in front of her, sat a man who wore it as if it were his own. Her body leaned forward without her control. Her fingers stretched, reaching for the ring, but they stopped short, shaking. She wanted to touch it, to feel its truth, but fear chained her. Her mind screamed at her to stay away. "You do not understand," she whispered finally, her voice hoarse. "That ring is not just a trinket. It is the heart of an empire that no longer breathes. Thousands died to hide it, to bury it forever. It should not even be here." The human's calm eyes did not waver. He lifted his hand slightly, letting the glow spill across the bar once more. The tavern lights dimmed in comparison, as though the ring swallowed their strength. "I understand enough," he replied. His voice was simple, without pride or arrogance, but every word hit the room with the weight of stone. The alien woman's hands dropped to the counter. Her shoulders sagged under the weight of disbelief. She had lived longer than most beings in that room. She had seen wars and crowns rise and fall. She had bargained with kings and buried enemies, yet nothing had shaken her as much as the sight of that ring on a human finger. Her mind raced through old truths, through warnings whispered from one generation to another. The ring chose its bearer. It always chose, and if it had chosen a human, then everything her people believed, everything she had built her life upon, was suddenly broken. Around her, the crowd grew restless. Some leaned in closer, their faces pale. Others backed away into the shadows, as if distance might protect them from whatever curse or destiny the human carried. A small group of aliens at the far table whispered quickly, debating whether to leave before the night grew darker. The human noticed it all, but did not react. He let them stare, let them fear, let them wonder. His silence became a blade sharper than any weapon. The elderly woman could not hold her thoughts any longer. "How?" she demanded suddenly, her voice rising like a crack of thunder. "How? Did you claim it? Did you steal it? Did you trick it? Tell me." Her shout startled even herself. The tavern shook with her words. A few glasses rattled on the shelves, but the human only leaned forward, resting his elbows on the counter, his gaze never leaving her face. "I did not steal it," he said slowly. "It found me." The woman froze. A chill ran down her back. The words burned her ears, because they matched the prophecy she had once heard. The ring did not serve. The ring did not follow orders. It found, it searched, and when it chose, it never let go. She stared at the human's face, searching for weakness, for lies, but she saw none. He was not boasting. He was not even defending himself. He was simply stating truth. Her chest tightened. She remembered the old saying, "When the ring finds a voice beyond the stars, the galaxy will bend or break." She had never believed it, But belief no longer mattered. The proof sat before her. Her hand gripped the edge of the counter. Her voice broke into a whisper, softer than before, yet heavy with fear. You should not wear it. You should not carry it. If others learn of this, they will hunt you. They will tear the stars apart to kill you. The human did not answer. He turned the ring slowly on his finger, letting it catch the dim light again. His face was unreadable, calm as stone. The woman's breath trembled. She realized then that the human was not afraid of the ring or of the danger it brought. He was not afraid of her or of the entire tavern. He carried himself as though he had already walked through fire and come out alive. Her body leaned back, weak, her eyes locked on him. For the first time in decades, she had no words. She was speechless. The human let the silence stretch again. He looked around the tavern, meeting the eyes of those who dared not look away. Then his gaze returned to her. The ring chose me, he said, and that is all that matters. The room remained frozen, heavy with dread and awe. The old woman's lips moved, but no sound came. She had asked where he got the ring, and his answer was not just words, it was the beginning of something far greater. And deep down, she knew that nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. The tavern felt like a place outside of time. Every being inside seemed frozen, locked between disbelief and fear. The ring's glow had silenced laughter, crushed arguments, and even dimmed the smoke-filled air. No one could look away from the human. He sat still, calm, his hand resting on the counter, the silver band glowing faintly like a quiet star. The elderly alien woman stared at him, her voice trapped in her throat. Her question had been answered, but the answer had not freed her. It had chained her deeper in confusion. At last, she found her strength. If the ring found you, then tell me, she said, her tone sharp, almost desperate. Tell me where, tell me how. The human's eyes shifted, and for the first time since he had entered the tavern, there was a change. His face did not harden, nor did it soften, but a shadow crossed it, a shadow of memory. He leaned back in his chair, the wood creaking under his weight. His voice came low and steady, carrying across the silent room. It was on a battlefield, he said, a place forgotten by most. No one goes there anymore. They say it is cursed. They say the ground itself remembers the screams. The woman's hands trembled. She knew the place he spoke of without him naming it. Her people had buried the memory of that war, but the land itself could never be buried. The man continued, his words pulling everyone deeper. I was not searching for treasure. I was searching for shelter. The sky was burning, and the air was full of ash. I found ruins, old stone half-eaten by time, and in the center of it all, I found bones. The tavern grew colder. Even those who did not understand the full meaning felt the weight of his voice. He was not telling a tale for amusement. He was remembering. They were not human bones. He said they were larger, twisted. Some still carried armor. And there, among them, was the ring. It was resting on a black hand. Fingers long gone, nothing left but dust and metal. When I touched it, the bones crumbled. The woman gasped softly. She could almost see it in her. Mind the dead warriors of her people, buried under the dirt of war, holding the ring as if to guard it forever. When I lifted it, the man went on. The ground shook. I thought it would break apart beneath me. I thought I would die there. But the ring burned against my skin, and I heard something. Not a voice, not in the way we hear. More like a whisper in my blood. The crowd stirred uneasily. A few aliens pressed their hands against their ears, as if the memory of such whispers could spread like a disease. What did it say? The woman asked, her voice small. The human's gaze locked on hers. It said, "You are chosen." The tavern erupted in sharp whispers. Some shouted in their own tongues. Chairs scraped back. A few aliens rushed for the door, unable to bear more. Others moved closer, desperate for every word. The bartender froze behind the counter, his eyes wide as plates. The woman shook her head, muttering, "No, no, it cannot be. Not him, not his kind." She gripped the counter until her fingers turned white. The human did not flinch. "It slipped onto my finger as if it had always belonged there," he said. "And since that day, it has never left me. I have fought. I have bled. I have crossed worlds, but always, the ring remains. It protects, it guides, sometimes it hungers. That last word struck the room like thunder. The ring pulsed faintly, almost as if it heard him. A cold shiver ran through the listeners. The woman's voice shook. It should have destroyed you. It should have burned your body to ash. No one unworthy can carry it. Then maybe. The man said softly, I am not unworthy. The woman swallowed hard, her eyes filling with fear. She had lived centuries, but she had never seen prophecy come alive before her. She could not speak. One of the aliens near the wall shouted, He lies. The ring does not choose men. He stole it. He tricks us all. He reached for a weapon, but the human only lifted his hand. The glow of the ring grew stronger, spilling across the tavern like silver fire. The alien froze, his weapon trembling in his grip, then fell back into his seat, gasping for breath. The human lowered his hand again. His calm never broke. I do not need to lie, he said. The ring speaks for itself. The woman's chest rose and fell with sharp breaths. She could not deny what her eyes saw. She could not fight what her heart already knew. But the truth was a burden heavier than her bones could bear. She whispered, the words she had hoped never to say. The ring has chosen a human. The tavern fell into deeper silence. The human's expression remained calm, almost indifferent. But his words carried the final strike. And now, he said, the galaxy must live with it. The ring's glow refused to fade. It sat on the human's finger like a quiet fire, alive, steady, demanding attention. The tavern no longer felt like a place of drink and laughter. It had become a hall of judgment, a chamber where history itself seemed to be reborn. No one dared to leave, though many wanted to. Curiosity chained them all to their seats. Fear kept their voices low. The elderly alien woman's throat tightened. Her lips parted. But for a moment, no sound came. She stared at the human, her hands trembling, her face pale under the dim light. She had seen things most beings could not imagine. She had lived long enough to forget half of them. But never had she been so shaken. At last, her voice returned, hoarse but heavy with truth. You think you understand what you wear, but you do not. That ring, it is not a gift. It is a curse wrapped in silver. The human tilted his head slightly. His eyes held no fear. He waited. Her breath shuddered. Long ago, before your kind even crawled out of the dark, my people forged it. Not in fire, not in stone, but in blood and light. It was meant to hold the strength of 1,000 warriors, 1,000 voices bound into one. We thought we could control it. We thought it would serve us. But it did not serve. It chose. The tavern listened in silence. Her words rolled like thunder, and every syllable struck deep. We tried to destroy it, she went on, her voice rising. We tried with fire, with acid, with void. Nothing worked. Every time we failed. It grew stronger, brighter, and when it found a bearer, that bearer became more than flesh, more than thought. They became something unnatural. The human did not interrupt. He let her words spill. Let her fear paint the picture. He only turned the ring on his finger, letting it catch the dull light of the room. Her eyes locked on it. She could not look away. It was said that the ring drinks from its bearer. It feeds on them slowly. Some were driven mad. Some became gods among their kind, feared even by their allies. And when they fell, the ring slipped away, waiting for another. Always searching, always hunting. The whispers in the tavern grew. Restless, some aliens muttered prayers under their breath. Others shook their heads violently, as if trying to push away her story. But none left, none could. The woman leaned closer, her voice lowering. And now it has found you, a human. Do you not see what that means? If it has chosen your kind, then the galaxy is no longer safe. Everything we built, everything we buried, it will all rise again. The human's face remained calm, his voice measured. Perhaps it is not the galaxy that needs to be safe, he said softly. Perhaps it is you who should fear what comes next. Her eyes widened, but she did not argue. Her hands shook harder, as though every word she had spoken had stripped away another piece of her strength. The ring pulsed faintly, as if agreeing. A deep voice broke the silence from the back of the tavern. He cannot keep it. A tall alien with skin like stone stood, his shoulders broad, his eyes burning with greed. if the ring truly carries such power, then it belongs to one who can use it. Not a human. Others stirred, emboldened by his words. A murmur of agreement rolled through the room, louder and louder. Some stood, weapons half drawn, eyes hungry. The human did not move. He only raised his hand again, letting the silver glow spread across the room. The light brushed over the crowd like a wave, spilling across faces and armor. For a moment, every weapon trembled. Every arm grew weak. The man's voice was calm, but it cut through their noise like a blade. You think you can take it. You think it can be stolen. But the ring does not belong to you. It does not belong to me. It belongs to itself, and it has already decided. The murmurs broke into silence once again. Fear returned, pressing down like a heavy hand. No one moved. The elderly woman shut her eyes briefly, then opened them again, wet with despair. He speaks the truth, she whispered. The ring cannot be stolen. Only the chosen can bear it. If you try, it will destroy you. The stone-skinned alien froze, his jaw clenched, but he did not step closer. He knew the risk was real. He had seen enough that the woman's words carried again, stronger this time. But understand this, human. It is not loyalty you wear. It is hunger. The ring may have chosen you, but it will use you. It will lead you to battles you cannot escape, choices you cannot refuse. And when the galaxy sees what you hold, every empire, every ruler, every soldier will come for you. The human met her gaze without blinking, then let them come. The tavern seemed to shiver at his words. The ring glowed brighter, almost pulsing with life, as if it fed on his defiance. A silence spread so deep it was painful, broken only by the faint hiss of the kitchen steam. The elderly alien finally leaned back, her body tired, her spirit heavy. She could not deny it anymore. The ring had chosen him, and though she wished she could unsee it, the truth was alive before her. Around them, the other aliens sat restless, shifting with unease. None dared challenge him again. None dared look too long at the glow that marked destiny. The human lowered his hand slowly, resting it back on the counter. He spoke no further. He did not need to. The ring spoke for him, its quiet light stronger than any weapon in the room. And in that silence, one truth carved itself into the heart of every listener. The galaxy would never be the same again. The tavern was no longer a tavern. It felt like a court, a temple, and a battlefield all at once. Every chair, every table, every shadow seemed to lean toward the human and the glowing silver ring on his finger. The air was thick, almost choking, as if the entire room held its breath, waiting for something to break. The elderly alien woman sat stiff, her hands gripping the counter so hard her knuckles looked white against her pale skin. Her eyes refused to leave the ring. Fear and wonder mixed inside her like oil and fire. She knew what it meant, but knowing did not make it easier to accept. A murmur spread through the crowd, rising like the rustle of dry leaves before a storm. Aliens of every kind whispered, their voices sharp with fear, anger, and greed. Some wanted to believe the man was chosen. Others wanted to deny it with all their strength. But many wanted one thing above all else. Proof. At last, one of them stood. He was tall, his armor dented and scarred, his face cut by old battles. His voice was deep and heavy. If the ring has chosen you, then show us, he said. Prove it. Prove that you are not just a man with a story. The room stirred. Many nodded. Some shouted in agreement. The challenge gave voice to the doubts that weighed on every mind. The human did not flinch. He turned his head slowly, his calm eyes settling on the warrior who had spoken. You want proof, he said, his tone steady. Then watch. He raised his hand, and the ring responded. The glow swelled brighter, spilling across the tavern like liquid silver. Shadows bent against the walls. The air trembled as though touched by a storm. A faint hum filled the room, a sound that was not sound, but vibration inside the bones of everyone present. Some cried out in fear, others gasped in awe. The warrior stood his ground, but sweat rolled down his temples. The human spoke again, his voice low but carrying over the noise. This ring does not obey. It does not bend to will. It bends to worth. And if I were unworthy, I would not stand before you now. The glow flared. For a moment, The entire tavern was drowned in white light. When it faded, the man still sat, calm and untouched. The warrior who had challenged him fell to one knee, his breath stolen, his eyes wide. His armor smoked faintly, as though scorched. From within, no one else moved. No one else dared. The elderly alien woman's chest heaved. She whispered to herself, almost too soft to hear, "It is true. He carries it. He carries it without breaking." Another alien rose suddenly, his greed stronger than his fear. He lunged forward, reaching for the ring with both hands. The crowd gasped, but before anyone could stop him, his fingers brushed the silver band in an instant. The glow flared again. The attacker screamed, his body shaking violently as if struck by lightning. He flew back across the room, crashing into a table that shattered beneath his weight. He did not rise again. His skin smoked where he had touched the ring. The human had not even moved. He simply lowered his hand again, the glow fading back to its steady pulse. His calm was unbroken. As though nothing had happened, the tavern sank into silence. No one dared speak. No one dared approach. The proof had been given, and it was more than enough that the warrior who had first challenged him stood again. His voice softer now, his pride broken. "It seems it is true," he admitted. His eyes lowered, no longer able to meet the human's gaze. The elderly woman pressed her hand to her chest, her breath shallow. She had lived through centuries, but never had she seen such a thing. The ring had tested him, and he had not only survived, he had triumphed. Her heart pounded with the realization that her people's fear was now flesh and blood. Sitting only feet away, the human finally broke his silence. "Do you still doubt?" he asked, his voice calm but sharp. "Do you still believe this can be taken from me?" No one answered. The silence itself was his answer. He leaned forward slightly, his eyes sweeping the room. "The ring chose me, not because I wanted it, not because I claimed it. It chose me because I am what you feared I would become. I am the proof that humans cannot be denied." The ring pulsed again, as though agreeing with his words. The glow spread across the room one last time before dimming to a quiet shimmer. The crowd sat frozen, their doubt replaced by awe, their fear reshaped into something heavier. They could no longer deny him. The human had been tested, and the ring had answered. The elderly woman lowered her eyes, whispering softly, "That it begins. The age of men begins." Her words spread like fire through the minds of those listening. No one wanted to believe it, but all knew it was true. The galaxy had shifted, and the proof sat before them. The human leaned back in his chair, calm. Once more, he did not smile. He did not boast. He simply rested, letting the silence carry the weight of his truth. And in that silence, every soul in the room felt it, the beginning of something vast, unstoppable, and terrifying. The tavern felt as if it no longer belonged to those who had entered it. It had become something else entirely, an arena where destiny had revealed itself. A place where fear and awe now lived side by side. The smell of smoke and food still lingered, but no one noticed. Every eye was fixed on the human, on the silver ring that pulsed faintly on his finger, each glow like the heartbeat of a living thing. The alien who had tried to seize the ring still lay crumpled in the corner, his chest rising and falling shallowly. His body burned by something no weapon could match. The others avoided even glancing at him, as if looking too long might summon the same fate. The warrior who had challenged the human earlier remained standing, but his pride had been shattered. He no longer looked like a man ready to fight. He looked like a man who had already lost. The elderly alien woman leaned forward again, her face pale and drawn, her eyes sharp but filled with despair. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Do you understand what this means? Do you understand what you have set into motion?" The human's gaze moved to her, steady and calm. "I understand enough," he said. Her lips pressed together as she searched for words, but none came easily. Finally, she whispered, "Wars will follow you. Armies will hunt you. The empires that once buried this ring will rise again just to end you. And when they come, they will not stop until either you or the galaxy burns." The man leaned back, unshaken. His eyes did not hold fear. Instead, they held something deeper, a quiet certainty. "Then let them come," he answered, his voice low but filled with steel. The woman flinched as though the words had cut her. The ring pulsed brighter, almost as if it agreed with his defiance, as if it had been waiting for it. The light danced across the walls, shimmering in the glasses and bowls, until the whole tavern felt bathed in silver. The crowd stirred uneasily, some trembling, some bowing their heads. They had come here for drink, for food, for escape, and, instead, they had witnessed history. None of them would ever forget this night. The human rested his hand on the counter, the ring gleaming in the dim light. His voice carried again, calm yet powerful. You wanted to know where I got it. You wanted to know if it was mine. The truth is simple. I did not take it. I did not ask for it. But it chose me, and now it will remain with me until the end. The silence that followed was absolute. No one dared argue. No one dared breathe too loud. The elderly woman's shoulders sagged. She had demanded answers, and she had received them. But those answers had not given her peace. They had stolen it from her forever. She had wanted to leave the tavern speechless, but she never thought she would be silenced by truth. Her voice finally broke through the silence, soft, almost like a prayer. You are more dangerous than you know, and one day, even you will fear the weight you carry. The human looked at her, his expression unreadable. He did not deny it, but he did not admit it either. He only let the silence speak for him. The tavern door creaked suddenly as a blast of cold air entered from the outside. A shadow stood there, tall and cloaked, watching. For a moment, the crowd thought it was another stranger, another wanderer, passing through, but the way the figure's eyes glowed in the darkness told them otherwise. The figure did not step forward. It did not speak. It only stared at the human and the ring, as though it had been waiting for this very moment. The air grew colder, and the tension inside the tavern twisted tighter, like a rope ready to snap. The human turned his head slightly, meeting the shadow's gaze. His hand remained on the counter, the ring glowing stronger now, brighter than before, as though preparing itself. The crowd felt that the storm that had been born tonight was not ending. It was only beginning. The elderly woman swallowed hard. Her voice was hoarse when she whispered, "They already know." The human did not look away from the figure in the doorway. His voice came calm, steady, carrying over the trembling silence. Then let them all come. The ring pulsed once, hard and bright, filling the tavern with blinding silver light. Gasps echoed. Chairs scraped back, and the shadow at the door stepped forward into the glow. And then the light faded, leaving only silence, leaving only fear, leaving only the truth that every soul in that room understood in their bones. The galaxy would never be the same again.